Well, hello friends, and welcome back to DevTools Hacking. Today, I think I'm going to try to make Hack Studio build and run something. Um, so we're going to start by making like a really trivial project, just to use as our testing project, because last time I've been using like the whole Serenity project, and it's a little bit chunky for what I want to do right now. So I'm just going to make like a little project. We'll call it little. How about that? And let's make a little file here. And how about we just do something really simple? Why not? Hello, friend. Comma? No comma? Let's say no comma. Okay. And I don't want to see those warnings, so I'm just gonna do that. Actually, that's silly. I'm just gonna do this instead. Okay, so the object of this video is to get to a place where we can build this project. So the project format is just a list of the files. And I guess we could actually have a make file for this as well. So we'll make a little make file. Oops, what the heck am I pasting? So 900. And I guess we can just do that. And then what is it? %O depends on %CPP. And all we have to do for those is I don't write make files from scratch all the time, so I'm a little bit rusty on this. So -O to the target, compile the first dependency, and I guess this is where we would pass the CXX flags if we have some. So, and maybe this is where we would pass the LD flags, but let's not worry too much about that. But we'll do a clean target as well. The struggle. Okay. RM object and program. All right. So clean, make little. Okay, so that's working all nicely. So let's switch to using this as our project. Hack Studio main. So where do we open the project again? Right at the top here, home and on Serenity. So we're just going to switch that to home and on little. Open the little dot files. And let's see how this looks if we start it up. Okay, so now we are in this directory, and these are the files that we have. It's pretty good. So my thinking here is that this isn't supposed to be like a regular terminal. It's just a general purpose terminal. The idea here is to have a dedicated terminal where if you build a program and you run it, then it will run in this terminal and you can interact with it as if it's running in any other terminal. But it's not meant to be like a general purpose terminal. Maybe that's something that would be useful to have as well. I don't know. We can figure that out, but at least then that would be maybe a separate thing from this, because I definitely wanted like a dedicated application console thing. So far so good. Let's, or you know, this actually makes me think that it would be nice if I could see which file is open somehow, because right now it doesn't show. Like I can select, but it's only double clicking that switches the files. So how about we make it bold for the currently selected one? So how do we do that? The let's see if GListView knows how to render something in bold, first of all. So when we paint a list view, we iterate through all of the rows, and then the font for each row is the column metadata font. Okay, so we can override the font. That's good. So let's override it with a bold font if we are hovering the currently selected file or the currently open file. So let's see, how did we do this again? When we open a file, then we go here, right? So we double click on a file in the list, and that just means that we open up the file and read the whole thing and then set the text editor contents to that. Obviously, we're going to do something more sophisticated here eventually, but right now this is how it works. We just slurp in the whole file and then slap it into the text editor widget. So when we do that, we can also we can tell the what do we want to do? We want to store that name somewhere so that we can compare against it. We will save it in a global. Oh my god, global is not the most nicest. Project list view, model, but maybe a global is the best thing we can have right now. It's a little bit ugly, but we're gonna need some kind of state. Where would the state come from? Because I'm thinking we're gonna allow you to have multiple files open, but you will only see one at a time, right? Okay, let's not think too much about the architecture of this right now and just make it work. The architecture will come into place later as we go. So the name of the file is file name, right? So currently open file is file name, and let's say string currently open file, and then we'll rename that immediately to G underscore, just so that I remember that it's. Do I have to do that to make that warning go away? I don't care about that warning. What's a stupid warning? Is that a client ID? Missing variable declarations. Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about that one. So let's see, this would be in project CPP. For the project model, we have to override the column metadata so that we can provide our own font. Column const override. All right, so that's extern, and then what we want to do is wait, hold on. This isn't at all what I want to do. This is because this would override it for the whole column. I wanted to override it for an individual row. So I'm barking up the wrong tree here. Let's go look at the list view again. So we get the font from the column metadata. Well, I don't really want to do it that way. Can I get the font from the individual data? There's no way to encode a font in a G variant at the moment. So let's fix that right quick. G variant const font. Okay. I guess we can just include it. It's not a big deal. So G variant is the class that we use to box various types. So you can have a G variant which internally contains any of these things here, and now it can also contain a font, because it will be useful if we want to return a font for a specific index into a model. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, what the heck am I doing? I have to actually look at what I'm doing here. So gvariant internally is this thing. It's like a union of all these different value types. So what we do now is we just add another as font. And we'll also add in font. Can we do it that way? Does that work? Const font as font. And this is only going to work if it is indeed a font. Otherwise, we'll assert m value as font. Okay. And then we just have to go and make the constructor overload for this. So take a font, set the type to font, as font is value. Oh, const cast. So font is reference counted, so we have to take care of that here. That is pretty straightforward. Font. I cannot do that because I have to do that. Right. Maybe this is a little tidier, actually. Nah, potato, tomato, right? And we also have to care about the copy constructor, because a variant copy constructor is a little bit awkward. You could probably do this with virtual instead, but I've been doing it in this way for now, but it's starting to become a little bit irritating to add stuff to it. And then we also have a move constructor, I assume. Do we have a move constructor? Let me just see if we can fix this. As font. I don't think we can compare two fonts, can we? There's no meaningful comparison operator for fonts. So we'll just compare them by pointer for now. It's better than nothing. Or actually, we assert here. Maybe we should assert for that too. We could let it assert there. Okay, and how do we stringify this? As font dot name. It's good enough for me. Or maybe actually something like that. Okay. I'm surprised that I didn't find a move constructor though. Where the heck is the move constructor? Or maybe the move constructor just is move constructor is deleted, but this one works. Fix me, move, not copy. Okay, so there's a fix me to implement moving. I guess it would be kind of easy since all of the internal types, the complex types, are all pointers, so you could just you know, move from one and then null out where you're moving from. But we don't have to care about that right now. Let's just see if we can build with this. And then what I wanted to do was override the font. So we're going to need a new gmodel role for that. So we'll just say font. And here in the list view, or actually let me do it in the project model first. So when you're asking for data from a project model, then currently we only care about the display role. Then we give you the file name. We could also say if role is role font, and we'll return. Oh, and this is where that global comes in. So what the heck was the name? Extern string g currently open file. and files at row. So if the current thing is the same as currently open file, then we will return a default bold font. Otherwise, we will return an empty variant. And in this case, we'll just fall back to the whatever the view wants to use. It's just that, yeah, I think this will make sense. And then the way we'll use it here in the list view is that where we draw text, let's see. So this is where we extract the font. So first we ask the column metadata if it has a font. If so, we respect that. Probably I should make this go away. But right now, I'm just going to leave it because I know that other programs on the system are using it, so I don't want to make it go away completely. So let's see. This is kind of awkward. I'm thinking, like, should I separate it out into a function? Maybe font. We could do a font for index, something like that. Okay. And then we'll pass the, what is the index? It's called index. Oh, but it's constructed down here actually, so we can do that. And do we use any other part of the column metadata? Yes, here, text alignment. Okay, but the font we can do differently. So I was thinking font for index, we'll put that in a superclass of GListView. So GListView inherits from abstract view, and then all the different views like table view, item view, tree view, and list view, they all inherit from abstract view. So we can put this here, the font for index thing. And then they can all use that, which will make it easier to bring this functionality to the other views when I do that. But I'm not going to get super carried away with this and go do that now. But it'll be there. It'll be nice to have. So const font for index. And oh, and we actually have to go and fetch the column metadata, but we can do that easily here. So column metadata is this column, model column metadata for index. Dot column. Okay, and then let's see if column metadata. The column metadata should be the fallback, I guess, because if we have a specific one exactly for this index, we should check that first. Data is font data is model data. But if there is no model, return default font. But then we have a model, so we'll say role font. Font data is font. Return font data as font. Look at that. Although this will be quite awkward, because this will give you a const reference to an object that will go away. So we shouldn't, the API shouldn't be like that. We'll fix that. But if we don't have one, we'll look at the column metadata, and then we can say if column metadata has a font, we'll return that. Otherwise, we will return the widgets font, the all G widgets have a font, so that's what we'll give back. So actually, this is what we should give back here too, not the default font, but the widget's font. But this one is a bit tricky though, because yeah, we can't go handing out a reference to this font here. I was thinking like someone else would keep it alive, but there's no guarantee. Like this call could generate a new font object, and we have to make sure that it stays alive. So we can't write the code this way. So I guess we'll have to do it. We'll have to give you a non-null ref footer to a font. Yep. That'll be it. Because we're not going to give you a, it's never going to be null. Like there's always going to be some font that you get back. So it's a non-null pointer and it's reference counted. So this is the right pointer type. Okay. And then in glist view, when we get the font out, we do it this way, font for index. And project. I got a little sidetracked with this showing it in bold, but I'm going to get back to running the thing very soon. So if the role is font, then oh right. So we want to gvariant should bundle. This is okay for it to do that, and the gvariant reference counts internally. So this is actually okay. Because right, so gvariant bumps the reference count on the font. It's all good, and then the only problem was that when we were retrieving the gvariant in gabstract view, here we have to make sure that the font, we keep retaining the font, or keep reference counting the font, which we will now because we return it wrapped in a null ref footer. So I think the problem should be gone. So I have some mistake down here. Right. Maybe we could actually do something more fun with the string of the currently open file. I was thinking we could put it in the window title as well, because why not? Studio. Okay, now let's try it out. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, look at that. It changes it becomes bold, but it needs to repaint after we change it. Because there's no way for the widget to know that the model would give you a different font now. So we have to actually explicitly say, hey, we need to repaint this widget after this happens. So we'll just do that here. We'll say project list view update. Okay. Very nice. That's awesome. Okay, so let's make some commits here. And Maybe we can do gvariant by itself, actually. Do we make it possible to wrap a font in a gvariant? Okay. What the heck did I change about gmodel? The font type. Okay, so there's a new gmodel font role. glist view will now use font for index. Right, and then we'll make use of that in Hack Studio to return a bold font for the currently open file. Right. GUI. Allow overwriting the font on a per index basis in glist view. This should be ported to all of the gabstract view subclasses. And then here, this is just a Hack Studio changes to show the currently open file in bold. And we're also renaming the default project to little, which I guess is okay. Actually, let's add it while we're here. Let's commit everything here. It's not a big deal. Hack Studio. Currently open file in bold. The project list. Also import a little default C++ project called little. Okay, so now let's go back to what we wanted to do, which was to try to build. So I'm thinking let's just make a build action. What's good for that? Control B, I guess. So we'll make a menu. How about we'll call it build. Ah, my nose is so itchy. Build menu. What did I say? Control B? I'm not sure if that's the perfect one, but let's just go with that for now. Okay, and here we are going to build. So I'll just put it in a function called build for now. Build. Okay, and what's that going to do? What are we going to do in build? Well, let's start by just running a make command in the terminal wrapper thingy that we have. So here we have this. Maybe we'll pass it to build terminal wrapper. Something like that. And I think that might be reasonable, and then this will be like the terminal to use or whatever. Wrapper. Okay. And then what we want to do is run a command in here. So terminal wrapper, currently it has like a run command, and it just does this. So it can run an arbitrary command, although it's not a member function or anything. We just start a shell when the thing starts up. But we could fix that. We could turn it into a member function. run command. Something like that. Pretty reasonable. And we'll let it take care of this pseudo terminal allocation internally instead. So terminal wrapper. Run command. So let's see. How do we do that? Oh, right. So currently we pass the pseudo terminal to the terminal widget when we construct it. So I guess what we want to do is actually make it possible to change the PTY, the pseudo terminal master in this case. That's what PTM stands for. So pseudo terminals are kind of interesting, actually. The way that it works is you open up this file, and it's a magical file that gives you back a pseudo terminal, but you don't always get the same file back. Like, it will allocate a pair of pseudo terminals. So I'll show you how that works in the kernel, because it's kind of interesting. So the device that you're opening, it's represented by this PTY multiplexer in the kernel. And this is basically the same mechanism on Linux and other POSIX systems, I think. So you open this thing and you end up here, and what happens is that we have a free list of indices. So basically, like /dev/bts/number is a pseudo terminal index. So we instantiate a new one with a free index. I think we have some max number of these. 8 is the current max number on Serenity. And for every master PTY, there's also a slave PTY, which should be allocated by the master. Yeah, you can see here, when you construct a master, it creates a slave as well. And the master is there are two sides of pseudo terminals, right? If you're not familiar, the master is what like the controlling program uses. So like if you're in like an X terminal, for instance, or a Serenity terminal, then the terminal application itself talks to the master PTY, and the shell that's running inside of the terminal talks to the slave, and the slave is like internally linked with the master inside the kernel, and the master learns what the slave is doing through this connection. So that's basically what this does. So here we are allocating a pair of pseudo terminals, a master and slave, by opening this file. It's kind of cool. And then you call PTS name on the file descriptor, and that tells you the file name of the slave. And then you can go and open that up, and now you have this file descriptor is the master, and then this file descriptor that you open with this file name is the slave. Anyways, that was the fastest intro to pseudo terminals that I could do. So we want to be able to swap the pseudo terminal in the terminal widget, because that would just be a useful thing to be able to do. So let's allow you to have a terminal widget with no pseudo terminal. Let's add a separate constructor for that. Or actually, let's not have a separate constructor. We will just let you say -1. So let's see, ptmfd. Oh, right. So the way that we handle everything here is, I'm just seeing what the terminal widget does with the master terminal file descriptor. So he tries to write to it in various ways when you press the keyword, or when you mouse down, or when you resize. We try to IO cuddle to change the size. Okay, so let's just do something like this. We'll say -1 is the magic number. That means you don't have one. then we'll say set sudo pty master fd. We'll do that in there. So if you set -1, I'll tell you what this is in a moment. So the notifier is a magical object that will it will fire a callback whenever there's something that we can read from this file descriptor. And you'll see it a bit further down. You can see here is where we set up a hook for it. So I'm going to move that actually up here. And let me make these symmetrical. Okay, so actually let me make it nicer. Okay, so the notifier is a magical C object that will fire this callback whenever there's something to read from a certain file descriptor. That's why we say what we say here. We can also say C notifier write, and then we will get a callback when it's ready to write. It's very useful, but in our case, we only care when there's something to read from the master, because it means that there's some something happening on the slave pty. So, like some output coming from a command, for instance. So let me add this API. Okay. This is kind of hackish, but it's going to be okay. And then here in the key event, we'll say, like, if there's no file descriptor open, we'll just event ignore and return who's our parent, gframe. No, not key up, key down. Okay. Then there was also mouse down, I think. Yeah, and mouse down. So if you click somewhere with the right mouse button, we're not going to try to paste. So say if mptmfd is -1, turn. All right. So when we construct it now, we're going to pass in -1 as the file descriptor, and then run command. When that happens, we're actually gonna give it a pty. So here we'll say terminal widget set pty master file descriptor ptmfd. This will fall apart like if you try to sequence commands now, because it's not going to like close the old one and everything, but we just need to get started. So I need to take off my hoodie because it's getting a bit warm in here. Okay. So forgot to do something here. Should probably do something. Wrapper, run command, make. Fascinating. We'll see how that goes. I have to rebuild more stuff, so let's do a full build. Okay, what happens if I run make? Then look at that shit. It actually starts running down there. And then we crash when it's done. But wait, why did we crash? Oh, I guess because that's normally what happens in the terminal, is that when the command that we run, when that exits, then we don't want to keep going. So we just exit the terminal. So who's doing that? I guess somewhere in terminal widget we have an exit call. Who did this? Here, G application. Oh, we got an event loop quit. Okay. EOF on master PTY. Okay, this is not exactly what I want to happen. So let me turn this into a hook instead in the terminal widget. So let's say on EOF, or on command exit, let's say. If on command exit, we'll run it. Okay, and we will add a thing here. And then in terminal, we will use this. Terminal here, right? So terminal on command exit. We just do, we can even do it this way, app quit. Okay. So I think this should allow it to keep going. And I guess in the case, I mean, we definitely care about this command exiting in Hack Studio as well. But I'm just curious, like, so it gets a little laggy, but it does seem to work. Oh, and we gotta react to this. Otherwise we'll just keep going. So what should we do here? EOF on master PTY. We fire the hook, and I guess we can close the PTY after that. There's no sense in keeping it open, because it's EOF'd anyway. So let's see, param, and mptmfd is go back to -1. Okay. And oh, and we should actually nuke the notifier at this point as well. Okay, that's good. I think that's good. We could even do it this way, actually. Okay. We are building, and it built. So maybe we should actually print a little something here after the command finishes. Do we have some way of doing that in terminal widget? I used to have something for that, but I guess I lost it. It would be nice if this thing had a function that you could call and would just append as if it came from the terminal. I, I mean, as if it came from the PTY. So we'll just add something. I didn't mean to do that. That's just, I can leave. I mean, it's not supposed to be there, but I don't want to touch that line in this change. Also, actually, let me commit before I add too much stuff. Let's say like that, because that was just on EOF, on command exit hook and PTY master stuff. Right. And then the remaining changes were these things. Okay, so we can leave those alone for now. Let's just commit this. Add terminal. UF on the PTY. Okay. Instead of quitting the application immediately when receiving, when the PTY gets PTY yields and EOF. No, let's say gives. It's not yields. Fire on command exit hook, so the terminal widget client can decide for himself what to do. Okay. Now let's add something so that we can add text to the terminal, like at the cursor, basically. So I think we'll call that something like inject string. And I'm just going to make that pretend like there's text coming from the outside. I wonder if the terminal, VT terminal, still has that functionality. Inject. Oh, I did have inject string. Okay, so it is used. It's just you rarely see this. It's barely used. Okay, so we're going to make that public. And it can be a string view, because why not? Seems fine. And then terminal widget will just forward. And terminal inject string. Okay. And then we can just use that when the command exits. So here we'll say like on command exit is inject string, command exited. Maybe put it in parens. I don't know how it should look like. Oh, maybe we could even do it with some color. That would be kind of cool. Why not some fancy white? I mean yellow, sorry. Okay, let's try it out. It would be good if we knew what the exit status of the command was, actually. It's kind of weird that we don't. So, but it's actually the PTY that EOF'd. It's not so much the command exited, because the terminal widget itself doesn't have the concept of a command, now that I think about it. It just has a PTY. So we know what the command was. And actually, we know what the PID of the command was as well, so we should probably stash that away. So we'll say mpid, and let's store that. So okay, and then let's start here that we don't have a running program. Or actually, we can even say if mpid is 1. Let's do a very GUI message box instead for now. A command is already running in this terminal. Can't launch command, can't run command. This is obviously not the final design of this. I just want to have something show up if you try to run a command while one is already running. Okay, so that was very, very long. We can probably do that a little bit better. Like that, say. All right. And mpid, when this exits, then we should wait on it. So let's see, int rc is wait pid, mpid, status, and no options. Shouldn't really get any problems here, so, but we'll assert in case we do so that I can find it. And then let's see, with status code. Actually, let's make a string builder here because this gets a bit complicated. Because there are a few different ways that a command can exit, right? So we'll start by just saying builder append command. Should we have different colors also? Maybe we should. It's getting complicated. Okay. If what the hell is the name of this? Exit. Let's see. If exited, if stopped, if signaled. These are the ones to be cared about, right? And then these are the exit code and signals, respectively. So. This is, why am I making this so complicated for myself? Let me just do it this way instead. Command exited with code, and then we'll say D for the code. Don't have to be fancy. Let's get rid of the string builder. Whatever builder, I'll probably bring you back later when I want to do this nicely, but let's just get to the point. Okay. Stopped. A different color, and we'll put yet another color if it gets signaled. What was it called? Term sig. term 6. So this will give us the signal with. There's a way to get the signal name. Is it stir signal? Yeah, stir signal, right. Okay. Maybe we should make the color here. If the status is 0, then we'll say the color is 32. Otherwise, it's 31. Okay. Because then we can get like green for success and red for failure. That'd be kind of cool. I'm forgetting one thing. I have to actually clear the PID after I do this. So I want to forget the PID. And I think that's it. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, command is already running, you say. Why do you believe that? Oh, right. It was backwards. It's a bit annoying that the mouse lags when I'm building. It does feel very old school. Okay, so firing on command exit hook, and then what? Nothing happens. Are we waiting for the PID? So let me see. See. I'm curious if we're even doing the wait PID, because it seems like something should have been printed. Wait PID returned 18. Oh. I mean, I guess wait PID will return the PID. Yeah. And then presumably we are trying to do one of these. And then nothing happens. Char. Why doesn't anything happen? Oh, okay, it did happen. We just didn't actually repaint after inject string, which makes sense because we'll just make it update. So normally, or what the hell is it called? Inject string. We want to trigger an update. Invalidate cursor. How the heck? Because terminal is trying to be very careful about repainting, because it's very easy to, in terminal emulator, it's very easy to get this idea that you always have to redraw the whole terminal, which is very inefficient, and it makes it like unpleasantly sluggish to use the terminal. So you always try to compute like a small area that changes. So what we do in this terminal is we compute the individual lines that change, like the rows in the terminal, and then we only paint the lines that actually change between updates instead of repainting the whole thing every time. But in this case, it seems like we're not invalidating the line, or maybe we are invalidating but not actually triggering a repaint. So let's see how that works in the terminal app. Terminal widget calls onChar, and for everything it gets, and then it calls flush dirty lines. So we need to actually do that. And this is in the terminal widget, so we could, let's take the easy way out right now and just do this in inject string. So after we inject the string, we'll also say flush dirty lines. Because really, the fact that we are painting whatever's in the terminal buffer, that's just specific to terminal widget. It's possible to use VT terminal, like it's just a generic sort of VT 100-ish terminal implementation, and it's possible to use it without painting anything. So the fact that we want to repaint after injecting something, that's really specific to terminal widget, which happens to be a painting user of VT terminal. So I think it's fair to put this logic here. Right. Okay, so we are, that's really cool. And then I would want to run it as well, right? So my brain goes immediately to F5 or Control R for run. And I feel like Control R is maybe the most logical one because it's easier for me to finger on my keyboard. F5 I have to move my hand, so I'm gonna go with Control R, but it might turn out in the future that I want to make it be F5. Maybe, I'm not sure, but we'll go with Control R to begin with. But let's commit what we have already. So we can get rid of those. And let's see, let's do the terminal change first. Lit VT make inject string public API so clients can use it. This is it allows you to add arbitrary input at the current cursor position. You can do escape sequences or just text, whatever you like. You can even do escape sequences. Okay. And then this adding the build thingy, and build is just running make right now. And I think we're good with that. So let's commit this. Hack Studio. Add a simple build action that runs make. So pressing Control B now invokes make project directory and routes the output from the make command to the little terminal widget. Very cool. I like it a lot. Okay, so let's do run as well, since that's what I said when I started. I want to build and run. So to facilitate this, I'm going to tweak the little project and add a run target, because otherwise I would have to know what the name of the executable is, and that gets a bit complicated, so I don't want to think about that right now. We'll just do this instead, /program. Yeah. And in Hack Studio main, we'll add a run. What should we make run? Where is that thing? Build. Run. Okay. It's pretty cool. And let's see how this goes. Boop, boop. We build. We run. Oh, look at that shit. And if we run too fast, we get this thing, right? Yeah, that's okay. And let's try to edit here. How are you? Build. Oh shit, nothing to be done for all? Oh, because I can't save. I haven't implemented save. Damn it. Alright, alright. Let's commit this. So, Hack Studio, add a simple run action. Now execute make run in the project directory. Let's make a save thingy right quick here. So we'll just make a really dumb save action in the app menu. So app menu, add action, gcommon actions, make save. I don't have a save action. Okay, well, let's steal one somewhere. Here, we'll take this one. Because this is the part I want it to have a nice icon and everything, right? Okay, and what are we gonna do when we save? If G currently open file is empty, well then whatever, but if there is an open file, we'll say text editor write file G currently open file. It's just quick and dirty just so we can test it out. Okay, so what's up? Okay, not much. Okay, fascinating dialog. Wait, save, build. Why doesn't it want to rebuild? Why doesn't it want to rebuild? This is probably an issue with, because main CPP, wait, main.o is newer than main CPP. Why is that? So it's definitely writing something to disk, but the timestamp doesn't change. Well, why doesn't the timestamp change? Write bytes. inode contents change, blah, blah, blah. Where the hell do we set the end time of files? Set end time. We should probably, oh shit, maybe we never set the end time just because you write to a file. Ooh. That's my bad. Let's go in file description and see when we write to something, call it write, and we want to go in inode file. So let's see. Ret, if ret is greater than or equal to 0, greater than 0, let's say if we wrote something, set end time. Is the current time dot tvsec. This makes sense to me. Let's try it out. So now let's build, and then if we actually write something here, xxx, save, and build again, and then it compiles again. And as long as I don't change it, it doesn't update. And then y, save, build, it builds again. Look at that. Okay, well, that's very awesome. So let's commit that kernel change. Kernel update end time after a successful well, this was pretty silly. We were not updating modification time of files after modifying. Okay. I guess this could technically fail. Well, let's not worry about that failing right now, because if write bytes succeeded, and if mtime fails, I don't know. I don't know. What are we gonna do? Right, we'll just drop the mtime update on the floor. It doesn't seem like the end of the world. And then write the quick and dirty save action to Hack Studio. A quick and dirty, very simple save action. Pressing Control S now saves the currently open file to okay. So I think that we're gonna stop here for today, but let's take a look at our progress. So we can now have a file open in this cool program. What a cool Hack Studio. We can build it and we can run it. And these things are going to need some cool icons, but I'm not going to do those right now. But this is some pretty sweet progress, I would say. So if you made it this far, then I definitely thank you for hanging out. And I hope you saw something interesting. I saw that people were quite happy to see the start of this series. Seems to be kind of, hitting something with people, making them curious, and that makes me happy because this is making me very curious too, and I'm happy to work on it. If you are interested in supporting my work, then please do check me out on GitHub sponsors or on Patreon. There are links in the description. But obviously all of my content and all the code and everything is always going to be free, so any kind of sponsorship or donation is strictly optional, and I'm just happy that so many of you are interested in this stuff because it's so much fun to share it with you. Anyways, thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you next time. Bye.